Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have an amazing presentation style for you. It's about studying in the US and how you can stand out on campus or off campus. We have two presenters today, one from University of Houston, Victoria, that's myself, and then from Oral Roberts University, Mr. David will be also presenting. Without further ado, we're actually going to move ahead with the presentation. Little bit about myself. I was born and raised in a country called Sri Lanka. I came to the United States few years ago, too many years ago, as an F1 international student, just like yourself. So I know how it is to be an international student. I know, even though it's been a long time ago since I work with international students, I feel nothing has changed. Matter of fact, a lot of benefits are happening right now versus when I was a student as an F1 student. For example, optional practical training is much more longer now for certain fields, whereas when I was taking part in optional practical training, it was just 12 months. I have about 20 years of experience working with international students. And now I am the director for the entire center here at the University of Houston, Victoria. So with that, I'm actually going to give the platform for David.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Ludmi. So I was born in the U.S., raised mostly in Mexico and the U.S. as well. But I did study international business and finishing my master's in business administration. So I did have the opportunity to come to the U.S. without having to go through the F1 visa process, which was it was a blessing. But it did meet my wife at ORU, and she is an international student, and so kind of walking through all that with her really motivated me to get more involved with international students. And eventually, when I was working as an enrollment counselor with ORU, I moved into working more so with U.S. expatriates, and then even more so with international students, became an international admissions representative, and then moved on to being the senior international admissions representative here at ORU. So it's really great to work with so many different countries, students with so many different backgrounds, whether that's DACA F1 or with different situations. And so it's been a lot of fun, and loved all that process.
Okay, so you're here today because you want to study in the US. You got up, you are chatting with many universities that is in this platform. What we want to share with you today is there's a number of universities and colleges in the US. In matter of fact, there is over 4,500 universities and colleges in the United States. Selecting a US destination to study can be quite challenging and overwhelming because there's so much information out there, so many blogs, so many chats, so many Facebook social media postings. So we want you to know that you are unique. Your needs are unique, your wants are unique, and it's best that you do your own research and not base your decision because your neighbor is going to this university or your senior friends are at this university. So do your research, and we're here to talk to you, advise you, help you answer all the questions that you have today. And both, me and David, we can assist you with the questions. We have a Q&A section at the later of the session, and we have polls that we're going to ask you to answer some of the questions. So stay tuned, and if you have any questions, just direct them to the later of the session.
Yeah, so kind of just going over a little bit of what we're going to cover today. Like we mentioned, I mean, what we're going to really want to get into what's important when studying in the U.S. For you specifically, we want to prepare you to study in the U.S., how to stand out on campus and off campus, and other ways to prepare yourself a little bit better. So it's going to be really just a all-encompassing sort of presentation about how do I get a job on campus? How do I get a job off campus? What do I do after I graduate? where to look, where do I start? So all those are things to really know, but it's also important to know where to focus on, and kind of going over that institutional profile for ORU and for University of Houston, Victoria as well.
Okay, so our first discussion is actually researching institutions. By now, we're hoping that you have researched some of the universities, you're attending this fair, and then you probably chat with some of the universities, research where you want to go. What is the right college or university? Is it someone else's, the college with the best marketing? US News World's Report #1 pick, college that I can afford. Like I said, I was an F1 student, and for me, the #1 priority was how much can I afford, with scholarships and without scholarships, because at the end of the day, it matters. The money does matter, and it depends on how much funding that your family can afford. It's not about finding the best college, it's actually finding the best college that fits you. Is it the right college? Am I looking for a larger university with 40,000 students, or do I like to be in a smaller institution with 5,000 to 10,000 students? And that was one of the criteria for me too. For me, it was, I did not want a larger university. I wanted a small to a medium-sized university. And what are the success of the university and the students? So these are things that you need to find for yourself and could be very unique for yourself. And you may not even think about a university, but you do a random call or a chat, and then you find out how amazing these universities is that you never thought of attending in the first place. That is truly how I found my university too. The university I truly attended was this 5th university I applied. I didn't have any intentions of going to the university, but luckily I ended up calling somebody, talk to an ambassador, and then it sealed the deal.
Awesome. Yeah. So how to research or find your destination university, you really want to look at what's important to you. Every student is different, as Ludmila mentioned. Some of her desires was going to do small, medium university. Some students prefer having, a whole university that feels like you're in a city. It really depends on what you want. And those wants and needs are different for each and every one of us. So you want to know what kind of funding does that university have? Where is it located? Is it hot in the middle of the desert? Is it in California? Is it in the East Coast? So what's the size of the campus? The costs, what programs do they offer? Do they have programs that would get you to the career that you ultimately want to go to? Do they have the minor, the rankings that are needed to hopefully get you into the career as well? What kind of safety measures do they have on campus? The job placement rate, which is very important, and also the return on your investment is very significant and relates back to that job placement, and also the application process and the probability of securing the U.S. visa. So some institutions are they're just better at working with international students and knowing that process, have a lot of success at making sure that students are able to secure their F1 visa and getting to the US, or even just helping them after graduating in that OBT process. And so some institutions don't have a lot of experience in that. So it's something important to consider when looking at institutions as well. For the funding, getting more into the specifics, we want to ask, how much funding can your family support? How much scholarships can you apply and actually get awarded? The location, just kind of mentioning that again. Just, do you want to live in a bigger city, a rural city, a metropolitan city? Location means living expenses can be pretty expensive depending on where you live. And rural means that you may not have the amenities you're looking for, meaning the groceries or from your home country, or community from your home country, like that may not be in the smallies. the cost as well, with or without scholarships, the cost to apply, application fee waivers, how often does the cost increase living on or off campus, and how expensive are the student fees. So just every single need and want to your specifics. You really want to know exactly what you want, find the right institution for you, not go after maybe what your friend is going to, your parents went to, but really find what's right for you.
And also about the programs, campus size, David did mention, and I too mentioned about large campuses, small campuses. Some classes may have 200 students in any of the sessions. And because I picked small to medium campus, my largest class size was 25 students. And I always tell this to students, regardless of what major you are, business statistics or some form of math and statistics is something that you have to do. And I always say, when you're paying this much of money, do you want to be in a class that is 200 number of students, or do you want to be in a class that is 15 to 18 students? Job placement, we will talk about this at later slides as well. It is critically important that you look at institutions that work with you on internships, co-op programs, because while we are in this industry and we work with potential employers, and one of the things that employers tells us all the time is that they're looking for students with at least 1 to 2 internships under their belt by the time they graduate. And I know David touched a little bit on return your investment. That is, when you graduate at the end of the program and the amount of money that you spend and your job prospect, you sometimes wonder, okay, the amount that I spend for my education, is it worth it from the jobs that you are securing and then the salaries that you're receiving?
Yeah, so I think one of the important questions to really ask, and what we want to focus on, is what is standing out. And standing out as an international student competing with U.S. domestic smart, intelligent students from all across the globe. So that's something that you really got to take into consideration. Standing out is really making sure that you have a robust resume, curriculum, and with experience in the U.S. And that's where some of those internships and co-op programs that we just mentioned are important. You want to gain that experience to meet with other students' experience, but you also want to network in hopes of securing internships and jobs on and off campus. You want to better yourself and you want to ask, have you studied in the U.S. before, to understand what qualifications you need to compete with others, or to gain skills required for your career, and to prevent yourself from getting bored, and also to gain funds. I mean, during your time in college, you really want to also have some money to be able to invest in something else, and not just spend all that money on your tuition, right?
So how can you stand out on campus? And I'm going to talk this in like 3 sections. So for example, if you are somebody who's coming in with zero experience even from your home country. So for example, all you have done is taking part in high school events or university college events, and student organizations and things like that. I would say first start off volunteering on campus, but I'm not saying you still can apply for on-campus employment, but sometimes on-campus employment can take a little bit time. Maybe you may not get a job the first week you're there, maybe it's second month you're in the US. Start volunteering on campus. There's ample opportunities that you can actually volunteer. Do not think as, providing service is something that has to be a monetary value in it. One of the questions that I get from students is, what's the point volunteering? I'm not getting any paid. I can put it in my resume. You absolutely can put events that you volunteer in your resume. And don't think of it as money or a part of the resume. It actually builds you. Every experience that you do is going to build who you are. It's going to make you comfortable talking to other people. It's going to make you comfortable standing out. I mean, promoting whatever the volunteering that you're doing, and really take you out of that shell, and then also give you some experience to put that in your resume. And then also applying for on-campus employment. Work with the career services. Every institution is quite different, and you can work with the career services. They actually help you to put down your CV, resume, a cover letter, do interviews, and do not turn down your job because it's a low job. And that's also another thing that I hear from students. Sometimes what we do at our university is when a student comes and tells me that, I'm looking for a job, I would reach out to my contacts on campus. And sometimes it could be facilities, it could be dining services. Don't just say, no, I'm not interested in doing this, but do it, because you get an all-round overall aspect of how things are. And I'll give you an example. So my first job was actually a facilities emptying garbage bins at offices. I didn't know what it was, but I loved it. It was 3 hours a day. I finished it in 1.5 hours, and the remaining hours I did my homework. And then my second job was I actually worked for the university dining services. And the dining services was run by a major corporation called Sodexo. So they have many branches all over the world. And we had many international students working in Sodexo. But think of it this way. I mean, if you're a business administration student or a finance student or an accounting student or an international business, and you do work for Sodexo in the very low level position, but when you do graduate and you climbed up to a student manager, which also happened, and you can now put that in your resume, and who knows, you may actually get a job right in the corporate world in Sodexo because you already have the experience. So don't dismiss certain jobs, think that low jobs. Just continue doing all these jobs. I mean, I wouldn't be the director for international programs if I didn't do so many jobs. I was the public safety officer on 4th of July. I was the security guard, so the fireworks don't fall on people. I did dining, success coaches. So you name it, I've worked everywhere. And you gain experience. I mean, and the networking skills, because you're working, people see you. And I've received so many comments from faculty saying, oh, wow, you're working here. It's that standing out. Even though sometimes you may not need the funds to work on campus employment can get you out of boredom, get actually to meet new people. I mean, as an international student coming from a South Asian country, I didn't have any friends. So the way I gained friends was through on-campus employment. And guess what? You can also ask for recommendation letters when you're seeking your professional employment.
No, that's good. And I think it's important to be willing to start anywhere. And it's definitely an important part of standing out, is having that experience and being willing to do any of those jobs. So what can you do to stand out on campus? And some of the other things that we could do is take part in all activities on campus, academic, personal, and social. Just like Nimi was mentioning about, jobs that can also relate to academic conferences and presentations on. I don't know where we have Enactus and different organizations that are related to business, like the Accounting Society. And a lot of those will happen during weeknights, and they're not required, they're not mandatory, but you can participate and you can go and you can network with different people that are already in the industry. They have jobs and they could provide different opportunities for you in the future. So you need to apply for those and really look into those opportunities. Apply to be a resident assistant. You can apply to be an orientation counselor. You can apply to be a student ambassador for your university. Apply to for a country organization. For example, if there are moving from 5 students from your country, you work with your student organization to create a student organization country. So invite students to join your organization as well. And so when you start different organizations, you start different clubs, you're really building something solid for your resume, for your curriculum, so that you can show your potential employer, this is what I've done, and you kind of lay it out for them, explain it to them. You can also take part in positive events if you are challenging the university policies, practices, to make sure you are doing it in the right way for the right reasons with the proper guidance as well. So take opportunities to meet and greet the staff, faculty, and students. Simply saying hello and how are you doing as you pass will allow you to make friends. A lot of the times when I would go back to my professors and I would ask them for a question, they'd be a lot more willing to go above and beyond. If I'm one of those students that, at the beginning of the class, I'll go up to them and say, hey, my name's David, nice to meet you. I'm a freshman here, majoring in international business. And, that really puts you off on the right foot so that you can get started, and getting to know all those professors and making those connections will bring you a long way. On-campus students and faculty and staff, they love to hear international students introduce themselves and saying, I'm Steve from Tanzania. If you're the first student from Tanzania, make sure that you state that fact, stating I'm the first student from Tanzania at University of, whatever. And so always remember to showcase your country culture at the international festival or other events. Remember to bring your items from your home country. When you have the opportunity to represent your country and showcase your country, do it. Don't ever hold back. Be proud of where you're from, and be willing to show other people the importance of your culture that can add value to them.
So the next one is about internships. And like I mentioned, the earlier on the session, remember to take a look at your institution, and then also look at your academic field. If you're not sure of the academic field, but you have few ideas of which field you're going into, just look at the academic departments and then look at internships. Like I said, internships is quite important. I mean, this is where you go into the field that you know that you're going into, or the studies that you're doing, so you know how the future employment is going to look like. And not just that, you're getting hands-on experience in your industry that you can use once you graduate. And internships are not just paid, it could be unpaid. I know major industries, major companies, their internships are unpaid internships, but then the value and the experience that you get is immense, that, when you do graduate, you pretty much secure a job right there. With the past students and serving the students, I have known that students who have always done internships are the students who have secured jobs after graduation. And then now with the pandemic, check if there's opportunities to do virtual internships. Our university of Houston, Victoria, we actually offer virtual internships to students, domestic and international students. So when you're having these travel restrictions, you can actually take part on a virtual internship right from where you are, and the virtual internship could be in Brazil. So really look into these internship opportunities, whether it's paid or unpaid, so you get to maximize your 4 years or your 2 years if you're a graduate student, and then be able to put this internship experience in your resume.
No, that's good. I think, just kind of adding to that, internships are definitely a huge opportunity, something that, my professors always recommended to me, but it wasn't something that I took a hold of. And it definitely I saw the effects after working, where, they were asking, what's your experience? What are some of the things that you've done? And it really, I had to lean on a lot of the experiences that I had, and the jobs that I'd worked before. Luckily, I'd worked in jobs that really helped me secure jobs after graduating college. So just something to keep in mind. All of those experiences are just so important. So remember, how can you stand out with some of the other opportunities, or volunteering at local community events like the food pantry, Habitat for Community, cleaning campaigns, volunteer at local health clinics or low income centers. At ORU, we have local outreaches. So we have different opportunities specifically for ORU students. You can also take initiative to support your local community, to collect food for shelters and food pantries, donate funds to shelters and food pantries. We can also volunteer at senior homes and rape and abuse centers, donate blood to save a life, and take part in community events such as 4th of July events that Ludmi was mentioning. You know, she was security guard, also holiday events during Christmas, Thanksgiving. You know, dedicate your time and always remember to showcase that country culture that I was mentioning at those community events.
Okay, so I know we did touch a little bit on campus employment, but let's talk about the nitty-gritties of on-campus employment, right? So you can work on campus right away when you get to the United States. You have visas, you enroll for classes, right away you can start working on campus. Some universities that may be different, where you need to get permission from maybe human resources or career centers. So work with, you know, your respective institutions. How many hours can you work? Typically, an international student can work 20 hours when class is in session. So depending on your school's schedule, fall, spring are the regular terms. So you can work 20 hours when regular terms. But whenever there is a break, so it could be a Thanksgiving break, a Christmas holiday break, or summer months, you can actually work 40 hours a week. Now you can do many jobs. Remember I said, you know, I was the janitor, the dining services, I worked for the international programs for many, many years. And you just have to make sure that, you know, your hours matches the allocated hours that, you know, you are allowed to work. Now, you know, if you are concerned, can I work this many and then maintain your academics? Then you don't have to. You can cut down your hours. You can only focus on maybe 10 hours or 8 hours or 6 hours. And you can work with, you know, your department or the employee that you're working for, and then say, you know, I don't want to work this much. I'm taking a full load of classes for this coming semester. So you can always navigate your schedule. And then some examples of type of work that you can work on campus. You can be a student office assistant, residential life worker, dining worker, like I said, you know, security, facilities workers. So career services at your university or HR office should have a list of employment opportunities where students can do. And if you're a graduate student, you can take part in grad research, assistantship positions, teaching assistantship positions, and even an office student position. You can apply, and there may be different positions for graduate students.
That's good. Some of the other employment opportunities off campus are going to be limited for U.S. For students entering the U.S. institutions for the first time. There are 3 ways that students can work off campus. They can do internships with curricular practical training, their CPT. The internships must be an integral part of the academic program. The authorization is only given once the academic department or the academic advisors approve the internship and the internship bears credit. They must have a job with a detailed position and description to be approved. And each institution and internships / CPT process is a little different. For us, it's pretty similar to that. I mean, it does have to be something for that's related to your major. So you can't get a CBT to go work at McDonald's if you know, because no one's majoring in working at McDonald's. So it definitely has to be something that's going to add value to your career. The OPT, the optional practical training, students can work from 12 to 36 months post-program completion per academic level. Students will not need a job to apply to the OPT, but students do and can do multiple jobs as long as they're directly related to the academic program that the student graduated from. So those OPTs, they'll vary depending on your major as well, as far as the length. Engineers, for instance, some of them, their OPT is typically going to be around 36 months. For business, I've usually seen that for 12 months as far as their opportunities. So just something to keep in mind, that the majors do affect that as well. The co-op programs that Ludmila was mentioning, that some institutions may have co-op programs with local organizations or companies that all students in a particular program, academic field must work alongside with their course enrollment as part of the program. We do have some of those co-op programs that do work alongside either an organization or maybe alongside another institution that offers a program that goes to another level, like a master's degree or something. So we do have some of those programs, some of those economic hardships as well. We understand that students go through severe economic hardships. For example, with death of a parent who is a primary sponsor, economic hardship is also different from institution to institution. Through economic hardship, students are able to work off campus for 20 hours to gain additional income.
Let's try to see a poll. Okay, one of the questions is, where is UHB located? Okay, let's end this one. There you go. It is in Victoria, Texas. And let's try to relaunch another one. Okay, wait. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So other events, I think we may be running out of time, so we are gonna be pretty quick. The other events on off campus, the other ones will be academic conferences, local and national events that you're interested in your subject area. And then also, what can you do when you go back home? So check with each academic department, and if the particular field is in a professional organization, like for example, business fields in AACSB, you can find national organizations or conferences where you can attend as a student. And then some universities do have funding for students to actually attend conferences. So these are things that you can take part in as a freshman student, first year student coming in. You may not find some of the academic conference opportunities, but as you move along, you may find that if you're a junior or a senior, you may find ample opportunities in attending conferences throughout, actually not just locally, but nationally and even internationally. And when you head home, just remember that you are silently, you're actually an advocate for the university that you're attending. And if you're attending and you love that university, what do? Sharing is caring, right? So you talk about the university, the things that you like, and how well you have changed because of the opportunities and because of on-campus and off-campus items that you have done. And you will quickly realize that as you are doing these events and you're standing out, you will quickly realize that there are people that knows you. You're in the grocery store, they know you because you took part in an event and you showcased your culture. Or faculty member or staff knows you because you're all over the campus doing so many things in the for events, whether it's an on-campus event or an off-campus event. So as time progresses, you're gonna love your university, really be involved in the university. So share about that university with your friends and family back home.
Yeah, let's get some of the things that are affecting right. Making one of the different universities adapted to COVID-19, and some of those different ways or areas where they adapted are the application admission support, the student services, on-campus housing and dining, student health and counseling services, the career closet and career guidance, the tutoring, academic success planning, health insurance, food pantry, on-campus employment, student shuttle, student programs and events, military and veteran services, disability services, testing services. Some of those student services also go into student engagement, the administrative support like IT, international services and registrar, financial aid and scholarships, bookstore, and that list goes on there. You can really read through that. But the student services are paid by the student. So take advantage of all of those services that are available to you. Each university has slightly different services, but they're mostly all going to be the same. Some offer more, some offers less. So just know that those are different ways that you want to look into how did that specific university adapt to COVID-19? What are some of the things that you're looking for as far as that adaptation? Is that adequate? Meeting what you're looking for in the university.
Okay, so we're quickly gonna like recap of what we kind of talked about, the application process, what you need to know in preparing to study in the US, how many universities you're applying, 5, 10, 15, 20, what are some of the requirements, your grade point average, test scores, SAT, ACT scores, GRE, GMAT, personal statements, recommendation letters. Other few things is down payments, deposits. Can I pay the $3,000 deposit if the university is requiring a deposit, wait listing, acceptance rate. I'm so dedicated for this university. What are the acceptance rates? So those are things that, you do need to look into when preparing to study in the US. So the next slides are going to be institutional profiles. And once we are done with the institutional profiles, we'll go into the Q&A and then we'll have a couple of few poll questions.
Yeah, so just kind of going over Robert University. We're a Christian university here in the central U.S. So in Oklahoma. If you don't know where that is, you know where Texas is. It's right above Texas. So it's in northeastern Oklahoma and Tulsa, and we have more than 120 countries represented, all 50 states represented. We're in the smaller end of the spectrum as far as universities, where we have 4,163 students this last year. 20% of those are international students, a really big international population. The top 5 countries for us are Nigeria, China, Brazil, South Korea, and India. The top 5 majors are business administration, engineering, psychology, nursing, and biology. So a lot of our international students they're really critical part of who we are. At ORU, we love helping international students, making sure that we coach them along the way. But there's also an added value that we can't really put a price on it. You bring something unique to ORU from your culture. You bring experiences that students here in the U.S. may never get to have. They may never get to visit your specific country, your region, and that's something that we value greatly. So yeah, the other thing is for the College of Business, we have the major field tests. These are some of the rankings that we're talking about for different universities. 94% scored over 100,000, meaning that we're in the 94% percentile over 100,000 other students in different institutions for the major field tests. That's for the College of Business. 99% of marketing, accounting, and international business majors. As far as the 99 percentile, the 98 percentile for finance majors, 97 percentile for management majors, and 99% of 2020 graduates reported job replacement or graduate studies within 6 months after graduation. So the national average is 81.4. One of the things about OU is that ROI that we're talking about, the return on investment is really high. We do have a lot of students that are very successful, after they graduate. So one of the things you have to ask yourself is, are you the right place for me? Is this the kind of institution I'm looking for? If so, then definitely reach out to us. We'd love to work with you. But just know that you will be successful. We will help you get a job. We will help you go into the career that you're looking for. You'll have those professors at class sizes, smaller class sizes. That was also is we have you get that hands-on and make sure we help you get to the place that you're wanting to get to. One of the other things, as far as ORU and being a different institution, the Quest difference, the Quest School Leader Scholarship Program was established to recognize students who are tireless on their quest for wholeness. Scholarship recipients demonstrate a Christian worldview, lifestyle of service, academic achievement, leadership ability, vision to make life-changing impact on others, and a healthy lifestyle. More than 6,000 students have received Quest scholarships. And those scholarships can range from partial scholarships, and we do offer 20 different full tuition scholarships for students throughout the year as well. So for more information, definitely go online and visit us at quest.oru.edu for more information about that scholarship as well.
Okay, University of Houston, Victoria is located in a city called Victoria, Texas. We're about 2 hours away from all the metropolitan cities in Texas, which is 2 hours from Houston, 2 hours from San Antonio, 2 hours from Austin. And what our students really love UHV is the personal attention, the one-on-one attention that our students are receiving. We're a small university. We have 4,900 students from 48 different countries. And so our cost, you will see one of the sections in the slide, it says, you won't break the bank. Our cost is pretty affordable. We're the 5th most affordable institution in Texas, and that says quite a lot. And this is also including rankings with the community colleges as well. Our one-on-one attention to students is not just through the international programs or other student services departments, but also through with faculty when it comes to academics. Now, these are the programs that we do have, and you can see this number, the 4,500 is quite old. So right now we have 4,900. We are offering $3,000 to $10,000 in scholarships, and from 3,000 to 10,000. So our cost is already pretty affordable, and then to receive 3,000 to 10,000 on top of that makes it quite affordable. And we have programs from mathematics, psychology to biomedical to all the business programs that is AACSB accredited, and then computer science. We're a pretty huge computer science university. We have majors from computer science, computer information systems, digital gaming and stimulation. STEM fields. We don't have engineering, but we kind of do have everything else under the STEM. And then a couple of important items. We are a university that do not require any testing. So we don't need SATs, ACTs, TOEFL, GRE, GMAT. We can waive for our students as long as they meet the requirements. Our scholarships are not based on these exams, these tests. Our scholarships are based on how you performed in your home country exam. So 30% for your grades from back home, personal statement receives a little bit more scoring, which is 40%, and your resume receives about 30%. So you can see that where your GPA stands or your grade stands, you have a pretty good chance in securing a scholarship. Then we are known to offer graduate assistantships for our graduate students. Computer science and biomedical are the 2 most popular graduate programs with international students. And matter of fact, about 87% of our graduate students coming into the computer science programs do secure graduate assistantships. And you can see the deadlines as listed here.
Yeah, so just kind of opening up the floor for any questions as well, but also just knowing that our contact information is also listed on the screen, or email or website or phone number. So just definitely feel free to reach out to us in case you have any questions specifically about ORU. One of the things as well, you know, we love to answer any questions for you. So if you have any questions specifically about getting a job on campus or off campus, definitely feel free to post those in the questions and the Q&A portion of the webinar, so we can go ahead and answer those questions as well.
Since we have some extra time, do we want to maybe try some polls?
So sorry, I don't know what happened.
1 minute you were here, and then I was like, oh, she's gone.
What happened?
Okay, so I just launched a poll. How many hours can you work? Let me know when you want me to end it.
I think let's go ahead and do we have time?
Yeah, we have about just under 15 minutes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's end this. Majority said 10 hours, but the right answer is 20 or 40 hours. That's the maximum, but if you want to just work 10 hours, then yes, but the actual hours a international student can work can range from 20 to 40 hours a week. So let me try another one. Okay. What are the types of scholarships international students can apply? Merit-based, athletic, grants, fellowships, government outside entity scholarships, all of the above. Okay, it is correct. It is all of the above. And I mean, we could only put 4 or 5, but if there's any other scholarships like departmental scholarship, you can apply for any scholarships. So I'm not sure what other questions you guys shared.
None so far.
Yeah, so I was just working on the ones that you entitled like presentation specific. So those last 3, I was just at those.
Okay, and then the other ones are UHV specific. So let me try one question for UHV. What tests are required to get admitted at UHV? SATs, TOEFL, Duolingo, none, SAT and TOEFL only, depends. This should be an easy question. It is correct, it's none. We don't require any of the testing for international students to be admitted to the university. Do we have other questions?
I didn't see any pop in the Q&A, but please feel free to utilize the Q&A and chat features for our lovely speakers to answer for you.
I know when we were presenting, a student raised, Daniela, do you have a question for us? if you're shy, you can actually type in the box, the box that says chat box, and then we can help you to answer that question.
David, do you maybe want to touch upon what testing requirements are required for your school, maybe?
Yes, of course. So we do have testing requirements for ORU. We require, if you're from a non-English speaking country, we require you to take the TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo test and have a passing score on that. So it's not too difficult. For the SAT or ACT, we don't require those. However, those could help get additional scholarships. So just something to also consider.
Okay. Okay, so if we have no further questions, we can wrap up the session a little early. Maybe do you have any final thoughts for our attendees?
No, and thank you so much for joining us today. I know there's many events happening this week and then many sessions happening today also. Just make sure that you do your research and then approach any one of us. It is quite early for us, and for most of us, it's a holiday today. But we're here. We want you to make sure that you are talking to the right people, and we are available. You have access to us, so you can ask questions. So with that, good luck with your search process and then future endeavors. And we hope that you pick one of our universities and to see you on campus soon.
Yeah, and then again, just to want to follow up and say thanks for joining us, and we look forward to hopefully hearing from you soon.
Awesome. Thank you both for speaking and participating, and thank you to everyone who came out to the session. And you can check out both their booths in the exhibit hall. The fair is going on for another 40 minutes or so. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good one. Bye now.